Welcome back to Las Vegas, bringing you live coverage from the MGM Grand. William Whalen here with Ryan Koenigsberg of BuffStampede.com, beat writer for the Colorado Buffaloes. And Ryan, how are you today?
I'm doing great. We're still in Vegas, so.
Right on. And guys, we are here for the Pac-12 Tournament, covering some of the events that happened today. Of course, the day starts out with Arizona getting a big-time dominating win over Cal, pulling away late, using their size, athleticism, and physicality, of course, to bully the Bears en route to a dominating victory. As the day moves forward, though, we saw some highlight individual performances, and it all started with UCLA's Isaac Hamilton topping 30 points, his career high. Hamilton talked after the game about his grandmother passing recently and him dedicating that game to her. And then, of course, Colorado and Oregon take on the floor, and Joseph Young just dropping everything that he put up. A spectacular performance to lead the Ducks over the Buffaloes and into the Pac-12 Tournament semifinals. Ryan, I want to talk about the action real quick with you. Obviously, such a perspective of the Colorado Buffaloes covering the team all year. What did you see from this performance of Joseph Young? And, of course, you watched a little bit of Isaac Hamilton as well. How good was this performance of Joe Young compared to other performances you've seen facing the Buffaloes?
That was the best performance I've seen all year. Caden Reinhardt went off against the Buffs, but that was kind of finding his way, getting open and knocking down threes most of the night. This was Joseph Young saying, I'm the conference player of the year, and I'm going to do literally whatever I want against your defense, and he did it all. He hit the mid-range, he hit the three-pointers, and he got to the rack, and no matter what Colorado tried, they could not stop him at all. So, and you look at that, and it's a little bit of a difference with the Isaac Hamilton performance, whereas Isaac Hamilton, he sees his first two go in, and you and I looked at each other like it's about to go down, because he has that scorer's mentality, and when he sees the bottom of the basket, And Joseph Young was a little different in the sense that he started a little cold, and that's when Colorado got out to that big lead, and in the same way as Skia Booker willed the Buffaloes last night, it seemed like Joseph Young flipped that switch tonight when Skia Booker couldn't do it. And like I said, whatever the Buffaloes did, they did nothing, and they could not do anything to stop it.
Yeah, and talking about spectacular individual performances, a name that a lot of Pac-12 fans knew coming into the season was Josh Scott, the junior center of the Buffaloes. Of course, comes in after an all-conference season as a sophomore, an all-Pac-12 freshman team as a freshman. There was a lot of hype surrounding the big man from Colorado Springs. However, he struggles with injuries for much of the year. Colorado, of course, struggles as a team in general. But Ryan, lately, it seems like Josh Scott has been a bit more healthy, kind of taking on a fighting personality, not too much different from the guy right behind us, and really fought through injuries late in the year. He's a name that I want people to definitely keep in mind going into next year when we're talking about if you play fantasy sports online, if you simply like to play week-to-week fantasy games, or if you're just a nut about following the best players that each conference has to offer. You got to look at Josh Scott as maybe going into next year, the conference's best big man, considering that many thought he might be the best big man coming into this year as well.
Yeah, he was banged up, and he missed 9 games over the course of a month in January, and then most of February he still, every time he hit the ground, he was getting up grimacing after trying to take a charge or whatever it was. And tonight was the first night I've seen, and in the last few games, that he was getting in there and getting dirty and not coming out of it limping or grimacing. And that back seems like it's back to full strength. You look at his last 4 games, he averages over 20 points and over 10 rebounds. That's the player we thought we were going to see coming into the season. And that's the player that Colorado fans and basketball fans, nationwide, can be excited about seeing next year. That's a player who is, unless he has to deal with these injuries again, that's an all-conference lock. He's an all-conference lock for next season.
Absolutely, and I also want to look forward towards tomorrow a little bit. Of course, the headlining game up front, for me at least, is going to be the matchup of Arizona and UCLA, 2 longtime Pac-12 rivals. Of course, 2 storied programs. And coming into this year, 2 teams that were picked to be in the top 4 that finished in the top 4 in the order that they were picked in. Quite frankly, the media kind of nailed it on these 2 teams. Individual matchups. Of course, we saw Isaac Hamilton go off today. What I look forward tomorrow, of course, is how the inside guys of UCLA, Tony Parker, Kayvon Looney, how are they going to handle the relentless pursuit of Arizona's front court? Brandon Ashley, Caleb Tarzewski, even a guy like Rondé Hollis-Jefferson who mixes it up. Stanley Johnson certainly mixes it up. This game has name power. This game has star power, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure you are as well. Those matchups are going to be exciting to watch, and definitely got to keep it here to make sure that you follow all that. I want to thank Ryan. Go check him out for any of your Colorado news on BuffStampede.com. Once again, William Whalen, Ryan Koenigsberg, live from Las Vegas.